what's up, everyone? Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Welcome to Tales from the Pits. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about different stories within the casino industry. Tonight, we're going to feature Michelle, and here are your hosts, Jay, John, Mike, and Danielle.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is Tales from the Casino Pit, episode 13. And I missed the title of it, Jay, because I can't see that comment here. I'm on my phone. I'm Michelle. I'm here with Jay and John. I think we have Emo Jay and Wales 2 Turkey 0 for John tonight. And yeah, Wales!
Awesome. Oh, look at this. Quick, hello. Hello, Blue Crush. Sup, Rodale Casinos are back. Hello, DJ. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Was that it? Go ahead, John.
I just want to say one thing. I'm logging in on my iPad, and it has kind of like auto kind of like subtitles. And when Michelle announced Wales, it came up as the big fish and not the country. So I'm slightly offended that the autocorrect think I was cheering for the big fish and not Wales, the country.
That's hilarious.
The title of this episode is "This is a Safe Space." I think I spelled it wrong too, but that's okay. It's a safe space? Question mark. It's got like a double meaning. We'll talk about it soon. But yeah, that's basically it. Oh shit! Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. That's like dead space. Okay, now what? Okay, go.
No, well, because I haven't been on for a while. So last week I've had like Wi-Fi issues. So hopefully it's working again today, or may not work today. But so I'm looking forward to kind of like catching up with people and chatting about stuff, and especially now that casinos are opening again, right? And we may be fully open in a couple of weeks in Alberta. So there's some exciting times.
It is really exciting.
Yeah, actually, we do have a lot of things to catch up on, John. Yeah, because you haven't been away. I think the last time you were on, we were talking about Disney cruises and having Mickey Mouse on stick. So
I still think that would be wonderful.
Me too. So I was just like really thinking about like, man, can you imagine like being Mickey Mouse and being on stick? So I got these like Mickey Mouse like hands. So and
That's amazing.
I just wanted to see how it would like feel. For those of you on the podcast, Jay has just brought out some Mickey Mouse gloves, oversized 4-finger gloves. And I'm just trying to grab like the stick. And can you imagine just like drop cutting and pressing with this? This would just be the most ridiculous thing ever. Would you like to press your bed, sir?
Exactly.
Oh my god. So yeah, these are pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try a 6 to 60 press after this. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it would be hilarious to have that on.
Well, I think one good thing though, if the dice hit you in the hand, you wouldn't be worried about like a dice fight. You'd be like, I don't care. They don't hurt me.
It goes. Sorry, guys. So yeah, John, you missed that. What else did you miss? Last week was pretty awesome because I introduced the Edmonton Oilers championship belt, which I just happen to have right here. So yeah, so when you get inspired, you just start to do amazing things. And I'm sorry that I'm behind on the podcast episodes, but this is why, because I've been doing just some extracurricular activities on the side. So, yeah.
That's a pretty impressive belt.
Thank you.
I think you need to wear it to work, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I will too, but the people at the hospital will be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that looks fancy.
Can't wait. I want to bring this to a game, and like hopefully it'll be It's like gonna be on TV because you know how awesome it would be if I could get on TV. Because I'm never on those jumbotrons. They never like, and I have like blue hair and I put paint on and everything, and they never put me on.
Do you know, like, I think it was a couple of years ago now. My nephew came over for. Oh, I can't hear you. Is Jay still talking? I don't know.
No, it's you.
Oh, okay. So no, my nephew came over from Wales, and he was a big hockey fan, but he'd never been to a real game, right? And his girlfriend came over, and he came over in February, and I kept saying to him, "Do you really want to come to Alberta in February? It's really cold." He's like, "Oh no, I got to," because he works for British Airways and kind of like gets business class flights, and he was like, "No, I got to use them. I want to come over. I want to see you in the winter." I was like, "Are you sure about that?" I was like, "Okay." Anyway, so we came over in February. And we got 2 tickets. We got 4 tickets to go to an Oiler game, and we phoned up the Oilers and said, "Look, my nephew's coming over and his girlfriend. They've never been to an Oilers game. They're coming from the UK. Can you announce them?" And we told them what seats they're in, and we're like, "Well, we can't guarantee it, but we'll see what we can do." And so we never told him. And then we went to the game, and then we ended up on the big jumbotron. They announced him welcome Kane Wilkes and Kelly Cullen to their first NHL game from Wales, and they were like, "What?" And we were on the screen, and we're like, "Ah!" And it was funny because I had friends who were there who didn't know I were there. They were like, "John, I didn't know you were at the game." So we're like, "Okay, meet you halftime for the drink, in the intermission for the beer." So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. There was one season, I think it was like, my kid was pretty young. It was probably, I don't know, like 8 to 10 years ago. My kid ended up in like the sequence for the beginning of the game. There was always like a bunch of videos, and some of them had fans in them, and he was in it for like every game. He was in the regular cycle, so he was pretty stoked about that. He was like 10 years old or 11 or something like that.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, before we move on, let's just bring in Mr. Mike. With no audio.
I can't hear you, Mike.
Yeah.
You better turn your mic on. No. You have to select it in your settings. I just learned that.
Here's Mikey.
Oh, no, he's muted. Okay, cool. While Mike is getting ready.
Yeah, so Mike's on here strictly for the podcast.
he's just a filler to make it look all square. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be like charades with Mike. It's like, sounds like 3 syllables. It's a movie.
He's doing the sign language, like when they do the updates for like the number of cases.
I love that guy. He's awesome. He's so energetic. And did you see that one time they changed it to somebody else who was just like very expressionless? And I was like, he's not having a good time like the other guy. The other guy looks like he's reporting all these things, and he's like, they've obviously said some bad statistics, but I'm like, he seems like he's enjoying every bit of it. A bit too much sometimes. Do you know what
I mean? How are you doing, Mike? Are you doing okay? No.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll learn how to read lips by the end of the episode.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's good.
For those on the podcast, Mike is now doing interpretive dance, and we're trying to figure out what he's saying.
Yeah. For those of you on the podcast, I don't know what happened to his pants. Promise we're just going to put them back on, and then we'll just continue on with the show here. So.
Yeah. He says it's really cold wherever he is. So let's just put that. We'll just leave that bit alone.
Yeah. So, what did we mention? So we said that our guest isn't. Our guest will be on next week. So we were supposed to have Christine on. However, she's actually at the game. So she's in Vegas and she's watching the Habs and Knights. So lucky, right? We figured that she wasn't going to be on. I know like priorities and everything kind of get in the way. So And I know how important we are sometimes, but I didn't want to take that away from her because, how awesome we are. Totally understand, if she kind of ditched Las Vegas to come see us and be part of our podcast. But yeah, so I just said, no, don't worry about it. Next week is fine. So we'll have her on for next week. And then hopefully, Michelle, you can host the week after, which would be cool. And then we have another special guest on an upcoming Sunday. Not this Sunday because it's Father's Day, and obviously, we don't want to do that on a Father's Day. But it's like, oh my God, priorities here for sure. So the week after, then we're going to have a special guest for the month. That's what we plan on doing. Once every Sunday and one Sunday every month, and then weekdays on every Wednesday. So far so good. I think we're doing all right.
Yeah.
We're on our 14th episode.
The 30th, it's confirmed now, so you can say that
Okay,
whenever you want.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we can have Adrian on, so that would be great. Okay, so as Mike is trying to return, everybody else, we have been going through a return to work at this city, and I think it's been, so far so good. I managed to go to a few different casinos, and I'll kind of update everybody on that. So if anybody else is on from the group here, if you guys are back to work, just let us know how it's been going. I was only at the casinos on the Friday, so I've been hearing a few things, but I don't like putting, I don't want to say anything unless I see it, right? So yeah. How are you guys feeling about the Go Lives? What have you heard about it?
I haven't heard much. Like Alex's mom is probably the only one I've talked to for any length. Well, he's talked to her, and yeah, it was good. She was. I know she was a little bit nervous, just with COVID still around and stuff, and she has her second vaccination, and yeah, she said it was pretty good.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't heard much. I just think, people now just want to do something, anything to take their mind off COVID. And and casinos are a perfect distraction. We all know that when you go in there, they're designed to kind of make you forget what's going on in the outside world. So I just think this will be a perfect distraction for everybody. And, we're pretty close to getting 70%, first vaccinations in Alberta. So maybe in the next day or two, they'll announce that in 2 weeks, all these restrictions will be lifted. And I think people will just gotta go, all this pent up demand for going to casinos is going to be so much fun, right? Because I think casinos are more fun when there's a ton of people in it. The third of that, I remember going to casinos sometimes in the daytime and it's awkward, when there's no one there, so you don't want to be too loud because feel like somebody stares at you for waking them up. And you're like, what? Yeah. It's supposed to be loud, and it's. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back into a casino just to see it and have some fun.
Hi, Mike.
We did drive by. I didn't know the island very well for casinos, but there's a casino in Victoria. I think it's called Elements, and they're still closed. BC is a little bit behind, I think, Alberta in their opening.
Sorry, Mike is trying to talk.
No, I'm just messing with you. It's been a while, and I'd like to say hi, Welsh Santa Claus.
Look at this. I'm getting old. Yeah, exactly. I'm growing old gracefully now, as opposed to disgracefully.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to John.
Yeah.
Someone did say bye to you a minute ago. That's Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Nice seeing you on.
Hi, Sherry. I'm back. You can come back now. We're here.
So now that we are a complete quartet for tonight, I just wanted to show everybody my amazing throwback jean shirt. Palace
Rodeo
style.
days.
Rodeo days, aka Klondike days, aka anything Western going on. We always had to wear these, so hooray! Look at that.
We're in Alberta. we're in Alberta. Should that not have been just our outfit? Like, I mean, really?
Pretty much.
But
Yeah, go.
can you remember though how excited we were to wear that shirt and jeans for like the 10 days? It was
Yep.
like, oh my god! It was like I don't care how cheesy it looks. I don't care. I don't have to wear like the tuxedo or whatever. You're
Tuxedo,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it was like, woo! I'm gonna wear a denim shirt with like Palace Casino on it, and I can wear jeans for 10 days. So yeah, I still have mine upstairs in my closet somewhere. So maybe I should bring it out. I'll wear it with my the vest, the Palace Casino vest.
I still maintain to this day it's pretty cruel to make like a white tuxedo shirt your uniform when like you're dealing on felt, and you know, like it's just this doesn't make sense.
Well, I've talked to you before. Like the first casino I worked in, literally was the worst clown uniform I've ever worked anywhere. It was I told you this story before, right? So we had to wear a peach shirt. It was short sleeved because they knew that the arms would get all disgusting. And in orange, it said "Les Croupiers" on the breasts, and we had rust, kind of like an orangey, crimpling kind of trousers. They gave it to us with like another orange tuxedo stripe down the side, and we wore a brown apron that had LC in yellow, yellow or orange, depending which one it was, and we had a brown suede bow tie that was like a bat, like out of the 70s, like this big, and it was hideous. But you know what? When I first went there, I was like, oh my god, I can't wear this. After like about 3 or 4 weeks, we're just going to the bar and we're like, I don't care. Everybody knows where we are. I'm there. And it was funny when I started in 1986. At the time there wasn't, I didn't have any money. It was like, okay, I have to buy these work shoes, right? And they have to be brown. So I go into the store and I'm like, oh, I want to buy the cheapest brown shoes you have. And they're like, okay. So they came out and they're like, oh, try these on. I'm like, oh, do you have one size bigger? And the woman goes, oh, okay. One of them's in the window, but just try this one on now. So, okay, I tried it on. I'm like, okay, that fits. I'll buy it. So she said, okay, I'll just take it and I'll grab the one from the window. So she grabs it from the window, puts it in a box. I pay. I go home. I don't look at the shoes until I start work. And when I open the box and I take them out, one shoe's faded than the other because it's been in the window, and it's like about it's like beige and light brown, and I was like, what? So that night everyone's like, oh, who's the new kid with the wrong color shoes? So I had 2 different color shoes. So the following day I had to go out and spend. I was so cheap, like I'm like, oh, I don't care, I'll spend them these, So then the following day I think I ended up buying like Dr. Martens or something, but yeah, it was crazy.
There's always something wrong with the uniform though, right? Like when I worked at the Yellowhead and they had white shirts with black cuffs, so they got rid of the felt issue with black cuffs. But I'm like 22 and having to wash a shirt that's white and black, and it's like, how does that work? I don't know how to do that properly. So you'd see all these dealers with like faded black cuffs, like it just it looked terrible.
Gray uniforms.
Yeah, really.
And it was like this same casino, like the girls wore kind of like a blouse, so they didn't have to wear the tie, right? And I remember going into work one day and I didn't have a shirt. I was like, oh, and it's not like I could wear something close to it. I was like, anyone have a shirt? Like, no. But this girl was like, I have a blouse. I was like, I'll wear it. So I put it on. But the weirdest thing is, like women's shirts, button up on the other side. Yeah. So I was like, ugh, it was really awkward. I couldn't do it up. I was like, oh, I can't do it. And I was like, what's going on? So I had to do it up. And then I kind of had to like force it into a collar because it was kind of like, open. So I had to force it into this thing and then put a tie on top of it. And it was like, everybody was looking at me like, what are you wearing? You look terrible. I was like, it's a blouse. I couldn't do the buttons up properly. And they were like, oh, John, it's just me being an idiot, I guess. So
that's so funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the first time I'd ever wore a male and female uniform in the same casino.
That was the first time. He said it's the first time, right?
Probably wasn't the last, if I'm completely honest.
The last thing I'll say is that, again, the Palace with those tuxedo shirts and tuxedo pants. So, you go to, I think it was Dirk's at the time. You buy these tuxedo pants, they go home, And then I read the tag and it's like dry clean only. It's like, yeah, that's gonna happen. No.
Yeah.
It's like I have to wear these 5 days a week. Yeah, no.
It was Dirks. We were sent to Dirks. Like,
Yeah.
really? Dirks?
Yep.
Wow.
I can get these at Old Navy. Like, what's going on here?
Do we get our pit boss jackets there too at Dirk's?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
We
I
did.
think
We did.
so.
Yeah. The first ones, anyways.
Yeah. I
It
don't
changed
remember.
afterwards, but the first ones were Dirks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when all of the jackets were just like kind of lined up there, and if you're like in acting, it's like, yeah, just borrow that guy's jacket. It's like, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. But I remember my jacket because we had those. Remember the Palace Casino pens? They were like pink and black, and they were like yellow and black. Well, I always like grabbed one from the pit stand and I just put it in my pocket. And like after like I don't know 3 shifts, and I wasn't even like full time yet. It was just like this whole line of pens on the inside of my jacket. And Baccarat scorecards, right? And that's all like you have in your pocket there. Like, it was just like,
Legit, I was at Adrian's house yesterday and she came across a black and yellow Palace pen with no area code. So just
Oh, wow.
112. Yeah. So she's had it like she was a waitress at Palace for like 3 weeks. She may have it from me, but yeah, I was like, it was just funny, the timing.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's something we gotta take a picture of and
Yeah, I'll find it. It's there somewhere.
This,
be our banner.
there was one time the casino I used to work, like I said, I trained him. They changed their uniform, and I went to after going on shifts and coming back, and I went out and partied, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to this bar where I know the casino dealers all hang out, and I saw these guys. I'm like, oh, there's all those guys over there. They were in the new uniform. So I just went. I didn't know any of these guys, right? And girls. So I went over there and I started talking to these people, complete strangers, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, hi. And I was always like, oh, how you doing? I've just got back off the shift. When is, do you know so-and-so? And all these people I was like talking about, that like friends of mine who would, work in the casino, like, no, don't know them. And I'm like, what the heck? This is so weird. So I carried on talking. And then until I eventually realized they were from TGI Fridays and it was the wrong uniform. my friends came in, they were like, John, I was like, hey, I'm just talking to your co-workers. They're like, we don't work there. What are you talking about? So I was like, okay, sorry, bye. Okay, I just got to go talk to my friends now. So then I have to leave.
That's hilarious.
oh my god.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so no wonder they thought I was like, who is this strange guy who's probably had a few drinks?
Oh my god. So, hello everybody that's joined on a little bit late. Anybody that's watching after our live here. Mike, just to catch you up, I had some Mickey Mouse gloves. Wanted to see how it would be dealing with these on stick if Disney Cruise ever had their characters deal craps.
Oh, we call those jack hands.
I think it has the correct amount of fingers for Jack hands too.
I believe so.
The other thing, Mike, is of course just a little upgrade on the belt. Just showing you how it's been going. It's been my project. Unfortunately, I've abandoned the channel altogether just to make this belt.
That is a great looking belt. I gotta admit.
Yes. I don't know why I got inspired to just like work on this thing, but yeah.
We're giving that to people who make first round exits, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a sweep. It's called first round sweep belt.
You gotta make
Oh my
it
God.
somewhere and then just get swept.
Oh, Selena's saying boo Mike.
Yeah,
Oh, why?
Mike's getting heckled.
Who's
Oh, no.
JP?
Yeah, who's JP?
I don't know who JB is.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to say. I'm wondering if Joe is on. Joe, if you're on, say hi. Because yeah. Oh,
It says-
here's another. Yeah. Go
It
ahead,
says
John.
he's watching. I'm trying to look down here, and it says, it says Joe Chan is watching. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's just that or he's always watching because he was a pretty cagey guy.
He's permanently on. That's it.
Exactly.
Selena was backing up Jack. That's what JB is.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
That's
I
what the
get it now.
that's
I
what
get
the
it now.
boom
I
mic
am
is.
so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah,
why I didn't
that's
say a last name, Selena. Okay. And I love him too.
Oh, okay, hey. Hello, yes. Hello, Joe.
Hello,
Nice to see you.
Chad.
I'm glad that you're on. It reminds me of, I'm wearing this, and I think I was wearing this, but anyways, this one story with John and Joe, and I just completely forgot to like bring the story up when Joe was on the show on the episode. I was a floor supervisor. I know this. At the time, I was relieving John, long pit, and high limit, because I believe that's what A was, right? The relief rotation.
Mm.
So it was 15 minutes, right? So anyways, John's about to go on break, so I relieve him. And like he's there, and he's sitting, and he's with Joe, because I distinctly remember this. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? I said, oh, nothing. I'll tell you later, right? John goes on break, he comes back. And I was just like, well, what did you want to say? Oh, no. Hey, you know what? I can like say a name of any person in a song. And I'm just like, what? Like, it's like, yeah, you know, like Beth, or, you know, like songs like that, Roxanne. I can put any name, right? I'm like, okay, how about my name then? Just say Jay Lee, right? He's like, okay. So John is like, okay, I think I got it.
You're gonna
What? You okay, Mike?
So you're gonna ruin our free buffets in Vegas, but go ahead.
But my face when I got like this punchline, I was just like, oh my god. So John is just like, okay, I got it. You know what? Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Haley. Happy birthday to you. And I was just like standing there, and I'm just like, Joe was like, but Joe was laughing so hard. He's like, yeah, your face, man. He got you so bad. Oh my god, your face is so funny. And I was just like stood up.
Because I remember that, and because I started the whole start of the conversation was I lied and I said, oh, when I was younger, I worked at like a DJ at a kind of like a radio station, and I heard a ton of songs, and somehow I'd remembered all these names in song titles, and I said, no, they just stuck with me, and I can always remember names, and put them into a song. And I remember you coming like, yeah, you said that, and and it was just a joke, and I remember that. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was hilarious. But like the two of you laughing.
That continued on, and I don't know if Michelle, do you remember Lars doing that when we were in Vegas, and he got us free buffet?
100%, I remember that.
Right, exactly. And the pit bosses looked so they were stunned. I can't remember what the pit boss what name was. Like, I mean, it was a. I mean, I don't know what the correct way to say this is, but it was an ethnic name. Like, it wasn't a Caucasian name by any stretch. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was. It was a name that there's no song on this name. And then when Lars sang it, remember the pit boss and the managers go like, God, we got
like,
caught.
and they're like, yeah, like you deserve this.
Right? Now get your slap buffet tickets on. And we could have gotten more.
When we went to Vegas, Lars, Mike, Sterling, and I, when I think I was 20. I think Mikey, you and Sterling were 21, I think.
Right, yeah.
And I think I was 22 and Lars is a bit older. And that was Lars. We had got us 4 free buffets. We were not high rollers. That was the only way we could get.
No, yeah. That was the only way we were getting free shit.
Well, I tell you what, though, that's the first time a joke I've ever said has actually earned people food.
All right. Thank you, John, for feeding us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think that came in. I think I can't remember what hotel we got that at, Michelle. You might have
I
to
feel
correct
like
me.
it was. I feel like we were playing tiles at Harrah's when we did that.
I think we were because I think we went for the buffet and we were hungover. as
Isn't that when the
hell
mashed
there.
potato thing happened? I don't
It
know.
was the mashed potatoes. Oh my god! Sterling and his mashed potatoes. We need stick on. We need them on. The mashed potatoes things were. I can explain it actually. It was you had to be there, but God, I don't even know how to explain this. Michelle, if you can help me out here.
I don't remember. I feel like we need Lars for this.
We need a comedian to dictate what happened there because it was too funny. I know not a lot of people out there might not know Sterling, but you'll know Lars if he can dictate this. If we can recreate the scenario for you guys, it would be amazing.
We'll do it a different time when we can do it properly.
Yeah.
It was an extremely memorable trip that the four of us still talk about on a regular basis today.
Very much so.
My wife always thought that Sterling looked like Alice Hemsky,
Alice
Kind of.
Hemsky, the hockey player.
the hockey player. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Not as talented. Very not as talented.
I'm sure Sterling would beg to differ.
Oh, I know. See his ego go there now.
Mike, you weren't on last week. What's your favorite 80s movie?
My favorite 80s was Ferris Bueller in the 80s?
Yeah,
I'm
it-
pretty sure it was. Yeah.
80s? I'd have to go Ferris Bueller. Or Princess Bride.
Okay. Yeah, they're
Both
both
good
good.
ones.
Princess Bride.
That was a great movie. You can name the Goonies too. That's what I got for 80s. Back to the Future.
I mean, that's.
Oh man,
There was tons of cool movies in the 80s.
yeah.
Breakfast Club was another one.
Oh, that was a good one too. Yeah,
Top Gun. Joe said I said Top Gun. That
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Yeah, that was.
Mine was.
But,
Go ahead.
I just said still can't get over Princess Bride. I never would literally even be like, pick one. No one's gonna pick. I was like, what? Princess? Okay.
Princess Bride is a great movie. It's an iconic movie. Okay. Goonies.
The Goonies was fun. Yeah.
I don't know if I can pick a favorite one right now. You got me stumped.
Well, yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I was gonna come back like next week and say, oh, how about 90s movies? But not really. Like 80s is probably the one where you're like, I don't know. I really don't know. So
Yeah.
I said Karate Kid. I mean, that's my choice. So
Good call there too.
So talking of Karate Kid, have you watched like the redo of the Cobra Kai, whatever?
yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why we have a YouTube channel here, because it first came out on YouTube Red, and I ended up buying the whole season. So and now I'm still paying monthly for YouTube. I don't think anybody else really like jumped on that, but me, I have this whole. I have a channel, right? So it all came from that. I wanted to see it, and it was just amazing. I mean, the first season by far is the best, but now it's getting. How far can you really go with it? But we'll see. They're bringing in all the all the other people, the characters from the old movies, so that's what makes it so cool. Just that connection, right? So, yeah.
I kind of like how they spun that story around a little bit, where Ralph Macchio's character in the original movie wasn't the good guy, and he was kind of like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody else, but If you haven't watched it already, it's too late. So we possibly going to ruin it for you. Yeah,
That's correct.
spoiler alerts. Yeah.
I feel like they do that though. So I this isn't as popular, but I'm like, I don't know. I like weird stuff. But if you remember the Mighty Ducks, that was
Yeah.
when we were younger. There's a Disney Plus show called The Mighty Ducks, and on The Mighty Ducks, the Ducks are now the bad guys. They're the ones who
Yeah.
became the Hawks. They like care about winning and nothing else. And now there's a new underdog team that is basically like the old Ducks. So they kind of did the same thing where the bad guys become the good guys become the bad guys.
I am gonna say the Mighty Ducks. Okay, and Michelle, I don't know, John, have you seen the movie, the original movie?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. The one thing that's always bothered me, the beginning of the scene where he misses the shot to win the game, the other team jumps off the boards and cheers and everything. They've won. How did they win the game?
Yeah.
It would still be tied,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, there's still an overtime. There's still another shot.
I
There's
think
no. They didn't automatically win the game.
No, but
It always bothered me.
Yeah, they do cover it. He does say in the movie like they went on to lose in overtime, but it is odd.
Okay, I didn't. Okay,
Yeah, but it's still odd that the kids like jump off and cheer. Like you haven't won yet, right? And that scene was very much they were acting like they're winning. But if we were going to talk about all the inaccuracies of the hockey scenes in that movie, it would be the whole movie. So
that's true. That's true. That's
love
true.
it. I still love it. It doesn't matter. But yeah.
That's true. I didn't know they did that. I might have blocked it out, but that's always bothered me. Actually,
Yeah.
it's
Not
one
in
of those
that.
things.
Yeah, it's like when he's retelling the story to someone. He says like they went on to win in overtime or something like
I'll
that.
I'll have to watch that again. They might have cleaned it up.
I may have watched it a few times, like
Yeah,
several.
fair enough.
Because Michelle, because I'm working from home and I think it's after like 19 years in casinos, I can't work in silence, right? So I have to have something on. So it's either on, to be honest, I put Family Guy on sometimes just as background music because you don't have to watch it. It's just like stupid, like, jokes, whatever going on in the background. But I blew through that, the Mighty Ducks one, like I think, super quick. Like
The
all
new
these
one?
different things. Yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
And then look on Disney, they're like, oh, because you watched this, here's some recommendations, which is like all the Mighty Duck movies, like all of them. I was like, I don't want to watch them. I've seen that one, and they all went bad after that one anyway. So I don't watch those.
Yeah, I
Oh,
do
yeah.
that sometimes too. But when I put something on, if I'm like working or doing something, I make sure it's something I've seen a few times, so that otherwise I feel like I have to pay attention, right? If it's something I've seen and I already know, then I don't feel like I have to pay attention. I could just take a 5-minute break and watch, and I already know what's going on because I know the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to put I'm probably not the only one, but sometimes I put shows on Netflix that I can nap to because I've seen them so many times. I'm like, I don't really care. And I'll put it on and I just fall asleep to it and just the movie plays on. But then I get weird recommendations. Like, because you watched this one, you should. I swear to God, I had Paw Patrol was a recommendation for me. I was like, how did I get that? I watched some cartoons maybe, but yeah, I got Paw Patrol as a recommendation. That was so strange.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
All right, boys and girls, I have to take off now.
A slacker.
I know. Hey.
Good time, not a long time. Hey, Mike?
I know.
Exactly.
Good time, not a long time. With the wife back at work and everything, put my daughter to bed and everything. It's kind of weird having everybody back at work and back to normal. It doesn't feel like normal anymore, right? It feels weird, but yeah.
This was like, Mikey, this was like being on break with you again. It's like 15 minutes of Mike.
I try to do my best. By the way, when I had my mic off, I was doing Vogue and the Macarena. I don't know if you guys got it, but
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
all right. Nice.
I'm sure everyone on the
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
got it too. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Question. All right, everyone. You guys stay beautiful. Take care.
See you, Mikey.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Hilarious. Joe says waiting for the new Top Gun movie. Oops. And what show were you watching to get Paw Patrol, John?
I have no idea. Like, to be honest, my kids are like, you watch a lot of cartoons, which I do. I watch people like, whenever I look at Disney, I'm like, I watch a cartoon. They're like, you're 52 years old. Why are you still watching cartoons? Because I like them. So and a lot of times, there was that one. I can't remember the name of it now. It was like a Kevin Hart one. And it's like, was it like the Captain Underpants? Was it Captain Underpants?
Yep.
That one, I swear to God, it was like cough medicine for children. You know how they fall asleep really quickly when they're like, oh, you're not sick, but here's some cough medicine and go to sleep. That was like that to me. I would fall asleep so fast. I think it took me 6 or 7 attempts to see the whole movie. I would be watching it and be like, I just couldn't watch it. And even my kids are like, are you going to watch it? I'm like, I'm trying. I just can't get through the whole thing. So I don't know, but Paw Patrol. I even took a picture. I was like, can you believe Netflix is recommending Paw Patrol for me?
So, John, in your house, you have kids, you have a wife. Do you each have your own profiles to watch movies on?
Yeah, because my kids kind of complained they were getting the recommendations based on what I was watching. They're like, you watch this garbage stuff. We don't want. So, yeah. And you know what the funny thing is? Well, there was one day I turned, like, my kids had annoyed me for some reason. I can't remember what it was. So there's all like 5 profiles, right? So like me, my wife, and my 3 kids. And my kids had annoyed me one day. So I went in and I changed all their usernames, right? So I was like, so I called them all like kind of bad names, to be honest. It was like asshat, numpty, I can't remember the other one, was like dipshit. No, I wouldn't say dipshit. It was like, dumbass or something like that. And I'm like, I'll show them. And then it completely backfired because they were like, that's awesome. And then they just kept them. To this day, they still have the same usernames. And I did it like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I was like, well, that didn't work, did it?
That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Joe said waiting for the new Top Gun. I didn't know there was a new Top Gun movie coming out.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I can't wait too. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, I definitely would watch that.
But yeah, I don't think Val Kilmer can fit in a plane anymore. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Really, like Top Gun? I thought you'd want to watch like Days of Thunder, a sequel before Top Gun. I don't know.
I like Top Gun. I never watched Days of Thunder.
Oh, really? You know what I want to see a sequel of? Running Man. That's what I was.
Running Man?
You never watched Running Man?
I did. Like the Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know why, but there's. I don't know. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. Just like one of the bad guys' name was like Dynamo, and then like the girl like, I don't know, whatever. There's like this one scene, but like the line out of it was like, "Why don't you stick a battery up your ass?" That's the only thing I can remember out of all the lines in the whole movie. I was just like, man, that's a good one. Anyways, yeah. So, it's funny because you were talking about sleeping, and it just reminded me of like when I went to Vegas. There was a Cirque show at MGM. I think you still have it. I think it's Caw, right? Have you guys seen Caw? No? Okay. So it's a really, I don't know, you know how like Cirque shows are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get all excited and it's like, wow, this is amazing. The stage is cool. Like the stage lifts and it spins and everything. 2 times out of like the 3 times that I've watched it, I've fallen asleep when the baton twirler comes out. And I don't know if it was like because I'm drinking or anything, but every time the baton twirler came out, I was just like out. And it was just like, I don't know why, but it was just that one thing that happens in Caw that makes me fall asleep. So it's so bad. It's embarrassing too, right? Because people are like, hey, because I'm snoring. It's like, yeah, it's not, yeah, not really. Anyways. I did want to get back to the back to work, but I wanted to show you a couple pictures because you guys haven't. We haven't really been together. We've always had a guest. This is the first time that we haven't had a guest. It's nice to like take a week off. But this was when we had Funny Monies, like Yeah, I actually did Funny Monies, and I was part of like co-business partners with a friend. But this was my craps table, and we got it shipped over, and yeah, I mean the felt is one thing, but
Oh wow, that looks pretty cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was really cool for Funny Monies, right? And you could fit like quite a few people if everyone kind of stood sideways, but it's a and yes, I know everybody. The mirror's on the wrong side of the craps table. Yeah, I totally understand.
Where's the? I can't see the mirror from here. Where was the mirror?
The mirror is where the chips are. You see the chips?
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh, the mirror's there.
The chips
To be
are
honest-
there.
yeah. So that I
When
mean, yeah, go ahead, John.
No, when you said it was on the wrong side, I was really hoping it was on the outside of the table. I'd be like, that'd be the best thing ever.
But you see, like that's the problem because we hired people that were working in the casino, right? So like, hey, what's going on with this table? It's so like off. Geez, what's going on? Like the mirror's off, and it's like this is a regulation. I'm like, yeah, okay. Try to like buy something in China and get it shipped over here. See how much it costs you, right? So you know,
So,
yeah.
No, that looks really cool. How long was it? Because it's deceptive. Because there's nothing to kind of like give it perspective. I mean,
it's like 8 feet, if that.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those smaller felts, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, nothing too crazy. And I couldn't calculate 31 for one because we were 30 for one. Remember back then? So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's weird. Here's my blackjack table. So we had 10 tables for this Funny Money. This is kind of where it all originated, but we ended up doing a Funny Money for Stantec, and they ended up taking up all of the Shaw Conference Center, and it was amazing. They they actually ended up supplying their own chips, so they all had like the Stantec logo, and
Oh, wow.
it was a huge production because it was a James Bond theme type of event. So there was actors that were involved. There was like a 20-piece band like on the one side for entertainment. They had like cars actually in the whole area. But our part was we had 10 tables, and it was a whole mix of tables. So we had roulette, craps, blackjack, poker, and it covered like the whole outside. So it was kind of like a Casino Royale type thing. At the end, they were allowed to take the chips home. So they're like, hey, what are you guys doing with the chips? Oh, no, these belong to you, the chips and the cards. So it was like thousands upon thousands of chips that they provided, right? So
Oh,
we're taking them out of like the racks, and it's like, here you go, take these, right? These people were like grabbing garbage bags, and they were like dragging like whole things of chips up because it's their company, right? So it's like Stantec's like, yeah, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I was just like, oh my god. And then we were like cleaned out, like all of the chips are gone, all the cards are like given away, and yeah, it was
That's
amazing.
pretty cool.
It was cool, and I mean to have that experience, and it was exciting because like it was the first time that we kind of ventured into Funny Money casinos, and it's super cool. Like I totally recommend it for people that do it, and if you're a company, absolutely like do that. We did a few after for like Radio Shack at the time, before they were like the source, but yeah, I don't know, people that do Funny Monies, I think it's really cool.
Well, I told you that once. The only time I went to a place who actually had one, I tried to get on stick, and they wouldn't let me. Like, no. And it wasn't like they were like, well, and I was like, come on, like, just let me on stick. Like, no. And I wasn't even drunk. I was volunteering at there too. I was like, look, man, I used to do this. I was okay. And like, we don't care. It was like, all right. So yeah, I never even worked a Funny Money. I would do it, I suppose. It could be kind of a laugh.
It's a good idea. Let me write that down, John. John.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd have to practice my 31-for-1 payouts.
What? Like in hindsight, working at the Palace when I was doing the training, when I had that position, I totally regret the time when they closed down the whole room and they got rid of everything, because that was like a whole business right there. And I'm like, well, what do you get? You guys don't want to keep any of this? Or like, no, we're throwing it all away. And they threw away like 13 blackjack tables, 3 dice tables.
Oh wow.
It was, yeah, and here I have a Pontiac Sunfire. There's nothing I can really take, right? And it's like, take it. Like, like they're not like, oh no, this is like property or whatever. It's garbage, absolute garbage. So like we were dumping these tables, but the craps table was the worst because you couldn't even take it because the slate was super heavy. And remember we had the 16-foot table? It was like heavy, it was gross. And then like, yeah, in hindsight, like 3 roulette wheels were dumped. Like there was so much stuff that they got rid of. And they barely like Baccarat was the only casino that actually ended up keeping some stuff, and like they were pretty smart because that ended up being like part of the future training room. But all the stuff that they got rid of, the chairs and the tables, it was just, oh my god, that was a huge loss.
Like literally that was like, even like a I don't know if it's ever taken off here with in Alberta or Edmonton or whatever. I mean, that's a training school, right? I mean, that's a paid training school, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But everything you need, and I'm sure there was like chips and everything too, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, obviously, like the chips were all the faded old series that nobody even wanted, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those chips are good. The artwork, oh my god, all the art, even the artwork, I'm like, oh crap. Like I think about it now, it's like there were some really cool. They had photos of like old sets of cards and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, I should have just like kept that. And they didn't. And I felt bad. And I'm thinking about it now, even to this day. It's just like, oh, all that good stuff is like gone, which is too bad. Anyways. What else can I tell you about that? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So our special guest for the month, in a couple Sundays, that's what they do. They run a school in Vegas, and they do learn to plays. They do funny money type of events, and they do placement for a lot of the potential employees, future dealers and whatnot. But they do the prep and everything for it. So the stuff that we did like 10 years ago, that's what they're doing right now. And, it's good.
Cool.
It's awesome. And the reason why it's important for me and for us in the channel, what I really like about this group is because, and Heather, of course, right? When they're doing things like that, it benefits the industry itself, and it actually, puts light to, hey, these are actual table games. You don't have to go to a casino and keep playing slots all the time. This is like something that you can learn. This is actually, if you want to be a dealer, this is a really good practice. This is something that you can have for a long period of time. It's something that you can fall back on and go back to if you needed a job, not just here in Vegas, but all over the world, right? So, yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, like, you never know where working in casinos take you. Like, I'll go back to, I found that there was a post on Facebook, and it was like about Cardiff, whatever, where I'm from. And somebody posted like a membership card, because back in the day, you used to have to have a membership for the casino. They used to be free, but it was like, you had to wait like 48 hours to get this membership, and then you could go in all the time, whatever. But I used to show this membership card, right? And anyway, somebody posted, and I was like, oh my God, I used to work there. And then, lots of people posted on about going in as players and stuff like that. And this guy posted, he's like, oh, my sister worked there in the 80s. And they said the name, and I was like, oh, I used to work with your sister. She was really funny. And she was a bit older than I was. She was probably like at least 10 years older than I was at the time. And so, I started, I don't even know who this guy is, but I worked with his sister. And I was like, oh, yeah, his sister was a lot of fun. He's like, oh, yeah, she now works out in California. And she's still working in casinos. So, I mean, and she's like in her 60s. And now she works in some place in California, like slapping plastic somewhere over there. So I think as an industry, there's a lot of opportunities to travel, right? And to go somewhere. So I think it's, I mean, I went to a lot of places. All of us did experiences where, we went to different places that we probably wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for the casinos, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it helped me grow up, right? Like actually leaving the house and seeing other parts of the world. It was awesome. And then even coming back, it wasn't just like the dealing part of it. And I think a lot of people don't realize like there's more to a casino than just like cards and slot machines. There's different like the food and beverage, security and surveillance. Like there's a lot of people that got a job in like the police, right? And RCMP. So I think that people don't realize that, and I think it's cool when other people, a lot of people that are creating content, they put our industry to light, because there's more to it than just like the gambling portion of it. I mean, it's a whole unit of different things. We have marketing people, we have human resources people. Like, it's more than one thing. Than just
not only that, like, I know for me, like, before I started working at the casino at 18, and I worked at McDonald's before that, and it's a customer service based job, but I was super shy, like really, really, really shy going into the casinos, and I always had a hard time, like, making conversation. It was not natural to me at all. I always felt like I was going to say something stupid or look stupid, and it was always like on my reviews, and then, but working at the casino for 9 years, like, you end up, like, honestly, like, we make fun of the egg seminars all the time, but like them just saying, like, introduce yourself, like, ask them what their name is. Like, I always thought that was weird, but like they kind of gave me permission, and I learned how to, like, talk to people, like, working at the casino. It was a huge thing for me to I'm still pretty like, I'm not an extrovert, but I'm not shy anymore. Like, I have no problem, like, carrying a conversation. So it was and dealing with difficult people, that's a skill that's important to learn, and you definitely get to learn that at the casino.
That's true.
But I think it, like, it did, right? Because I think, like, it always, if you look at it, especially, like, because we all, we learned, one game, and then we learned, and got proficient at it, and then you got to learn a new game, and then you get thrown into a live game, and it's usually super uncomfortable because you're like, okay, I was pretty smart and good on this game, now I'm really bad and uncomfortable on this game. And it kind of, you were constantly put in an uncomfortable situation where you had to, like, adapt and get better. And it's like, for me, it was like, you realize, okay, this is not like like public speaking. Everyone's like, oh my God, public speaking. Oh my God, I could never do it. But I'm really, going on stick on craps. I mean, that was terrible, especially the casino's dead and then everybody's looking at you and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so I just think there was a lot of skills in there that you could take out. I'm not saying everybody did, but I think a lot of us took skills from the casino that we may or may not be aware that we did, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sherry asks, where did Mike go?
He got pissed off at us and he left.
He's had enough of it. He's like, screw this, I'm out of here.
Yeah, Mike, we can only handle Mike in doses, so usually 15 to 30 minutes, 30 minutes tops.
Yeah, we can only afford Mike for 15-minute intervals.
Pretty much.
That's me. It's Magic Mike. He's expensive to have on.
He had to put his daughter to bed, which is completely understandable.
Right.
He has his priorities in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say. Plus, he gets up at like 3:30 in the morning, right? Something ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, I know. When I do the, like, if I do like a post or something, you can see him like it, and it's like, oh my God, like 4 a.m. It's like, this guy's like already awake. Oh my God. So I just wanted to go back to work, because I think it was Thursday they went back to work, and I ended up, hopefully I can post this. I'm not very smart because I started, I took my camera with me. I had Friday off, and I just booked it off because I just wanted to, spend some time in the house. But I left in the afternoon and I started to drive around, and I was just like, well, why don't I do a video for the channel? So I went to 5 casinos on Friday between like 12 and 4, basically. I ended up, making it back to the West End at 4. But so, I went to like River Cree first, and then I went to Palace, and then I think I drove to Yellowhead, Century, and then Argyle. So that was my whole loop. What I was getting out of each of those places was that the first day was really busy, and then the next day it wasn't. River Cree was, to me, like the busiest, but I mean, they had the most staff available. Everything was kind of split off, where you had maximum of like 3 players on a blackjack table. and I think it was 5 or 6 for high limit. All the plexi was up, and it wasn't like like the cardboard the first time that they had their go around. So they actually upgraded it. Palace, it looked pretty, but I'm saying this because it's a day shift, so I don't know like how the staffing is. Maybe it's busier on the weekends or whatnot, but it didn't seem as busy. It's fairly quiet. I got like parking right at the front. The stadium gaming was closed, so they still have it, which is cool.
Mm.
And then, Yellowhead, they had poker, so the poker room was open. They don't have craps. Yeah, I mean, there's some additional electronic gaming that was there that I never saw before. Yeah, and then Century was maybe like the second busiest. Their high limit was super busy, and they had, I think it was 6 players per table. And there's no poker room, and it got replaced with the interblock gaming. So it's just like the stadium gaming as well.
In the
And
poker room?
there was no poker room there. I didn't see it.
Ah.
So I mean, like the poker room was initially where high limit is now. So like, remember the big room right by the door?
Last time I was at Century, poker was kind of like in the back corner.
Right. So like right beside the cafe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now instead of poker, it's all electronic gaming there. So it was electronic roulette. I think it was electronic, like blackjack and baccarat. So,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me at all for casinos to delay bringing poker back, but I would hope it's a temporary delay.
hopefully,
Right? Like, hopefully. I mean, I don't think we need every casino in the city to have poker. I think it's actually bad for every casino in the city to have poker for poker. But I hope there's still, poker in general.
yeah. Yeah, I missed that room. That's one of my favorites. So, yeah, you're gonna say, John?
We've talked about this before, and I think at some point, like I think in Edmonton anyway, too many casinos are trying to be offer every single source of gambling to every single player, and it kind of dilutes it's kind of like when like they complain about you have too many teams in NHL, it dilutes the quality of the players and blah blah blah. I think it kind of dilutes. I mean, obviously it's different, completely different, I suppose, but it kind of dilutes the experience for the player, right? Like you're not going to get the same quality of dealers in all these different casinos if they all these poker dealers, right? So like, why even have it? I mean, like, why does every single casino need to have a poker room? Like, if you haven't got the people who can run a really good poker game, why have it? Like, let's just say, okay, somebody else can have that. Why don't we specialize on this is our niche product? We're gonna have this amazing high limit room, or we're gonna have like a couple of craps tables, or this is our niche, this is our bucket that we're gonna go after, right? I don't know, but I think that the challenge is everybody in Edmonton so far. They're all trying to be like literally like the Swiss Army knife of gambling, and I don't think it works, right?
Yeah, I think I heard some again. I've never worked in like the management side. Like I've been a pit boss and a houseman, but never like beyond that. So, but it would be interesting. I've heard people talk about like, having a game that loses. Sometimes it's to bring the wives in or whatever, right? They'll have poker because the husband plays poker, but the wife will come in and play slots, for example, right? Or whatever the case is. So I get that. I don't know all the economics behind like what games bring in which players and spouses and whatever. But I'm with you. It's not for every game. Like blackjack obviously doesn't matter. You can have blackjack in every casino. But poker, craps, yeah. Like I hate to see every casino have one poker game, right? Like that. It's just not conducive to the game being good.
And I think as well, certain games that sadly are dying out too, right? I know back in the UK, there's very few craps tables in the entire country. And we have lots of casinos. And actually the casino I worked in originally, and I trained for craps, got rid of it for a really long time. And then they recently brought it back. Prior to COVID, they brought it back. Because there will be a demand for it, right? And it's because it's like, okay, nobody's offering this game like literally in like hundreds of miles. So people will come to play this particular game, right?
Right.
And it's, and they have a history of running this particular game, right? So they just have to retrain the dealers.
It would be fun if there was like 2 or 3 craps tables. They're all at like 1, maybe 2 casinos. It'd be a fun time especially on the weekends. Like it would probably be a blast.
But it was kind of like that when, like, I remember when when craps first came into Edmonton. I mean, like, the tables were really, really busy. But I remember, I can't remember which player it was, but he used to tell me like, oh yeah, I drive past like 2 or 3 other casinos to come to the Palace Casino to play, because the experience was better at the one we had, right? I mean, ultimately, really, it doesn't matter what game you play. It's all about the experience, right? These games should be fun, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what game it is. It should be fun. It's not this guy like, okay, I'm going to deal and slap plastic like, I don't want to do this job. I shouldn't be here and I should go home. It's like, this is an entertainment, right? So unless you're going to have an entertaining experience, people are not going to play. I mean, Colin said the other week, and I completely agreed with him. Like, he said he went to, sometimes he pops into the Palace Casino, not Palace, so one casino in St. Albert, but it's so bad, the experience, he stops playing and then plays slots and goes home, whatever. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, Century is the farthest casino from me by far. It's probably even farther than St. Albert Casino. And I don't play a lot. Like, you can count on one hand how many times I go to the casino. But we went there. My kid turned 18, wanted to learn how to play poker. And I'm like, I want to teach you limit poker. Like, you can play no limit at some point, but I want to teach you limit. And that was the best place to go. Like, to play just a 3-6 hold'em game. Or I think they had some half-half or something. I don't remember, but we went there a few times when he wanted to learn how to play. So that was the furthest casino from us.
Yeah. No, you're both right. I mean, I guess the problem here is the fact that, and this is my opinion. Like, I'm the most tolerant when it comes to going to a casino and playing. Like, I don't mind St. Albert. It's fine, really. And it's not even about playing. It's about, like, I'm okay with just sitting at the bar and having a drink. But the thing is, if I want to play Pai Gow Tiles, where can I play it? And I don't like being surprised, like going to a casino. It's like, well, we're not staffed for it. You know what I mean? Like, that sucks, right? I like going to, I like going to Century because, I wanted to play 3-6. Exactly what you said. I like limit. I'll drive all the way over there just to not play like 1-2 no limit. I'd rather play limit before a hockey game, right? And then go to the hockey game and then come back. For me, that's perfect. Craps, another thing. I love to play craps, but I don't like going to a casino. It's like, oh, we don't have enough staff. Okay, what's your problem there? Like, why do you have the game? You can't staff it. Explain that. Is it the casino itself? Is it the staff that you're hiring? Are we just stretched out over too many casinos, right? I think there's so many factors to it. And I just want to go to a place and play and expect, I expect blackjack to be there. If I want to go play craps, I'd like it to be there somewhere in the city. And I just want to go there knowing that, 90% of the time it should be there, unless there's like a fire or like a holdup or something, and then the casino's closed.
It's like you either have it or don't. Even like I worked at Yellowhead that second half, and I dealt craps a lot there. And it was like, if I recall correctly, and someone might correct me if I'm wrong, but like weekdays, the table would open at 2 or 4 or something like that. Like there was always a longer shift, like 4 to 2 or 2 to 2. So it didn't open at noon, but that was okay. The players knew, right? Like if it's scheduled and you stick to the schedule and you're pretty consistent with your schedule, that can work too. It's just the consistency, right? You don't want to come one Friday at 5 and there's a game, and then another Friday at 5 and there's no dealers, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, and I think as well, I think the problem is I think over the years, they've lost, from what I've seen anyway, for craps specifically, there's something's lost about the people who deal. I think maybe craps on all the games, right? Like, you guys were awesome, and most of the people who watch this were awesome, dealers too. And it's like, it's not as entertaining as it once was, right? To go and play these games. And I think people are like, casinos are like, oh, it's not making any money. There's a problem. It's because you're not making it fun. I mean, Disney's the happiest place in the world. So people go there by the thousands and millions, right? I mean, like, casinos should stop going like, well, why? You need to be more engaging and more entertaining to people playing these games. And I think sometimes they just like, oh, I just need a warm body to stand on the table. And they don't really care, right? So I don't say they don't really care. It just, I don't know. The experience has changed from my experience anyway.
Yeah. It's tough for me to. I agree with you. Like I don't go to the casino enough to really comment. But Alex, tried. He went back briefly 2 years ago, and was it 2 years? It was 1 to 2 years ago, and it wasn't a great experience. And he had a ton of experience, and it was a terrible experience. Going back with more life experience, more work experience, and I would not recommend people go work at a casino right now based on his experience. So it's unfortunate, but that's reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sad thing. And when you think of it, like, I remember reading a stat, and it's probably still true. Like Edmonton has probably like more casinos per capita than anywhere, like most places in North America. And I'm turning around and going, well, yeah, guess what? It's not really a place that you want to go work based on the experiences that someone has who is very good at their job, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. So I guess good. Okay. So David says, hi, David. Says it's all watered down in Edmonton. I will have to agree. Oh, here, perfect. Too many casinos, so the talent is spread out. Yeah, and I worked with you, right? And can you name a new dealer? No, you can't, and that's a problem. Like, people don't want to learn the game, and for whatever reason, we're not getting enough people. And if we don't get enough people to learn the games, and like more multi-game dealers, people want to actually, I don't want to say move up, but just like learn more than what they're doing right now, then it's really stagnant, right? So we're not getting like all these new people come in and kind of cycle through while other people start to move up and other people move on and they do other careers. It's just that cycle is gone. I go back there and I'm like, I think it was 5 years. 5 years part-time, like casual, and two dice classes in 5 years, I believe.
Wow.
And that's like 2 casinos too, right? Like, so that's not a good sign and it's not that the casinos can't offer it. It's just that people don't want to take it.
Yeah.
Is it because we don't have enough staff? Maybe, right? Nobody knew, right? So
I don't want to be like too negative, right? Like, again, like I'm not in it every day. So like, I hope I'm wrong. Like I call me out if I'm wrong, right? If people are listening and I'm wrong, and if I'm not wrong, then make it wrong. Like make it better, like
prove me wrong.
Yeah, I want to be proven wrong, right?
yeah. So
Do you know what I think? Maybe some people, I don't know, are not realizing the advantages to learn certain games. Like, especially, like you think of the core games, like, especially like roulettes, craps, and the opportunity gives you to travel, right? I mean, if that's something you want to do, you go, you know what? I really would like to see the world, and I want to do it as I want to work there. There's so many opportunities for you to travel the world and go to these different places all over. I mean, people gamble all over the world, and realistically, roulette odds don't change in Edmonton as they do to St. Petersburg, Russia, to Australia. But I mean, there's so many places in between where you can, potentially have the opportunity to work. So maybe that is something that they should promote. That's like, you know what? Yeah, learn these games. We know you're not going to stay very long. Do this while you're young. Go travel. Go do some cool stuff that
Right.
When you're old, you look back and go, man, that was so much fun. I traveled and saw these really cool places, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reality of the industry, right? Like you just said, people don't stay there for years and years. Some people do, but for the most part, not. And so own it, right? And like you said, yeah, just act accordingly.
Mhm.
I'm like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if a casino turned around to me tomorrow and said, "Would you like to call us if you want to know how to work in like on a cruise ship and travel the world, or work in the Bahamas, or work I don't know anywhere, travel the world, work in seeing the world." You'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's different. Okay, well, how do I do this? Okay, you're going to come in, you're going to learn. We'll teach you blackjack first. We're going to, here's a schedule. You're going to do this. Most places want you to do it in 2 years. They want probably at least 2 years experience, and this is how we're going to do it. You're going to do blackjack, baccarat, all the donkey games. We're going to teach you roulette, then you're going to get craps, and in this 2 year period, you could do that. And then, you know what? We're going to give you a really great reference for you to go work somewhere else."
You could even partner with cruise ships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what, have some input from them and what they want to see in dealers, right? And help them along that way.
Man, you could even turn around and go, like, to that point. I think that's a really cool idea, actually. Like, what if they turn around and go, "You know what? You tell us what your procedures are for your shuffles and all that kind of stuff. So when they get on board, they know exactly what you want to do." You could be literally the feeder school for like a cruise ship, cruise ship or whatever, man. It's just, but at least that way you're going to get 2 years, and that person is motivated to learn all these games,
right?
And they may or may not leave, right? Something may happen in those times,
right?
But at least you're like, "Hey, look, we're doing all these kind of cool stuff," and it's an incentive then for people to learn these games, right? And to get better at this thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's an interesting little, yeah.
Wow, see, you guys can like come up with some like nice brainstorming ideas in a podcast just like this. I mean, that's pretty genius. I mean, if we're just talking about Canada, for sure, then why wouldn't you do something in Vancouver where you have your Vancouver casinos and then employ them onto like a cruise line? Like, if I would have both, oh my God. Yeah. If I had a cruise line, I would buy one of those casinos on the coast and then just like.
It makes a lot of sense in Vancouver, for sure.
I worked on a cruise ship years ago, and like it used to be a long time ago. There was the cruise ships had different concessions for different departments, right? So the casino would be one company, the bar would be another company, like the hair salon, whatever, was another company. All these different companies, and this one company was London Clubs, and they actually owned casinos in London, and they used to bring out their dealers. They'd be like, "Hey, we can go," and these dealers would literally come from like the casinos in London, and they would go and they work on the casino ships. In some of them anyway, would go and work on the ships, right? They would get paid the same salary, which is in London was like staggering, and then they would go and deal and get tips. So they were making an absolute fortune. And sometimes they'd hire other people, and then they'd hire us at like bare ass minimum. So anyway, but I think it's a great way to like. This is what we can do. This is the opportunity for you is to travel and see the world, and we can help you do it because lots of us have done it, and you could see you and me and Michelle and done awesome, cool experiences. That I think is the opportunity for people like to get into casinos, right?
Yeah.
Rather than go, "Guess what? You're never going to get promoted because nobody leaves. It's dead man's shoes," right? How do you sell that? Okay, that sounds like fun. Yeah, right.
Steven has a couple points that I agree with here. He says part of it is so just back to dealers not wanting to learn new games. Part of it is that they've taken away game raises, so why learn new games? And then if they force you to learn them, you aren't going to have fun.
You don't get raises for games anymore?
You get a fraction of it. It depends on where you're,
where you're working.
Yeah, it depends on where you're working. It's different. Especially if it's a game you don't want anything to do with. For example, the last game I learned was Baccarat, which I really had no interest in dealing. Yeah. There's so much you can uncover from that. You can kind of open that up. It's a Pandora's box. I mean, I can completely understand. We've talked about people not wanting to deal poker. Mm-hmm. However, like that's kind of where your bread and butter is a lot of the time when it comes to consistent tokes and increasing like the pool. So
yeah, I think that when it comes to, it's tough because there are games that like nobody wants to deal, and that makes it tough. But in general, if a dealer doesn't want to deal a certain game, I don't really want them to deal that game either, because they're not exactly as was it David made that point. They're not going to be very entertaining, right? If they have no interest in dealing the game. If you don't want to deal baccarat, my advice is to take it last. I took it last. I barely ever dealt baccarat because I dealt poker and craps and roulette, right? So once you deal other games, you really don't deal that much baccarat.
Mhm.
But yeah.
But I kind of agree with you, Michelle, right? Like the challenge, like what happens, like, and it happens to me, and I'm sure it happened to the rest of us watching this, doing this, is you deal these higher skill games, and you become more of a like priority person to be on those skill games, because you're like, okay, you know, Michelle's an amazing poker dealer. Guess where she's going? Jay's great at all these games, but he's going to be put on the one where, okay, this game's busy. I remember when I used to work on the cruise ships, first night of the cruise, they didn't know what the action was going to be like. So they used to put all the best dealers on the first night of the cruise. And if the game was dead, they'd be like, okay, you guys can go and deal the other stuff. And we just put the new other guys on it. But if it was busy, all the best dealers would stay on, right? So I think that's what happens. Like once you deal like certain, I wouldn't say like the higher skill games, you end up being on them more often, right? Because, you know, you're better at
that
it.
ends up being the incentive, right?
Yeah,
That's the incentive to taking more games and being good at games is you end up on the better games. You know?
Yeah, you avoid the donkey games by being good at the other games, right? It's like, I don't want to deal baccarat. Okay, well, just get really good at roulette or poker or
if you're
or
on
craps,
baccarat or Caribbean every night, take it as a hint
right?
that you have some training to do.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God. Okay, so David says learning new games and training used to actually be fun, in my opinion. Now, when they force people to learn new games, they don't want to deal. I think it's taken a lot away from it. I mean, yeah, it's the problem is that there's nobody else. If everyone refuses to deal a game, how are you supposed to like staff it?
Yeah, like if you're talking about like what do you call it, prop games? Like if that's what you're talking about, prop games. I mean, everyone has to learn. That's just part of it, right? Like as much as I pretty much always dealt poker and a bit of craps, you know, you end up on a prop game once in a while. I didn't end up on them very often, and I usually didn't know what I was doing when I was on them because I wasn't there very much. But like, I don't know, just be better. Like, you know, you got to learn them. You got to know. I don't know. Like, so I would ask David, who has a lot of those comments, what his solution is for the games that nobody wants to deal. You know, like what's his solution then? Because you can't just have nobody that deals them. Those games are inevitable.
Yeah, but
I think to be honest, I think what's going to happen at some point is the games you want to have, like say for instance the special like this higher skill games, like, you know, roulette, craps, poker, is if people are unwilling to take the games, well, I think what would happen is the casino would be like, okay, well, we need to hire people who can already deal these games, and then they will come in, they will fill those spots, and then the other people are going to deal all the donkey games, right? So it's just kind of like if you're not willing to learn these games, you're probably going to get pushed down onto these donkey games because you're not willing to. I mean, like, how is your life? I don't know. For me, anyway, if I was always going to have to deal, like, you know, all those, you know, Caribbean stud and poker and all those, that's, you know, carnival games, really, an entire night, I'd be like, maybe I've made a wrong life choice of going to casinos, right?
Well, I do it like for a bit, but eventually I'd probably just end up quitting, which is it's just like that's part of it. You know.
Yeah. Okay, and so now we have to think about why you don't want to deal that game. Has it evolved to a point where you're getting more abuse than you did 20 years ago, right? Has the player...
Could be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just say this, like, later on, like, being a dealer now as compared to being a dealer 20 years ago is completely different, right? Like, I've had chips thrown in my face, like, later, not, you know, and if someone said, like, screw you 20 years ago, it's like, you're out the door, right? Now it's like, F off. And it's like, oh my God, hey, like, really? This is like allowed. It's different, right? And I don't know. I don't want to say
that's a really good point. You could take that in a lot of industries if it's followed the same trajectory as like retail and like anything customer service based. It's more difficult. They're all more difficult, right? So that's a very valid point.
Yeah. Like it's not just, we talk table games because we're all table games, but even like food and beverage. If you're in food and beverage, you start in the dining room before you go on the floor. And that's normally how a lot of the casinos are. You have to be in the restaurant. You have to spend some time in there before you go to like high limit and get high limit tips, or you go run the whole poker room and get your tips there, right? It's like this whole sequence, but how do you make it fair for everybody? And it's the same with poker. It's different. It's so different now because remember when poker first came out, it's just like, yeah, late night. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Put me on late night. Put me on late night. People are volunteering for late night. Now it's just like, hey, do you want to work late night? Do you want to work late night? Do you want to work late night? There's a lot of people like, no. It's like, no, I don't. Right. It's such a different shift. And David has a point. Selena agrees. It's gotten to this point, and I think we have, like, bottom line, I think we have too many casinos trying to offer everything. Totally what John just said. Like, you're trying to be like a master, jack of all trades, like master of none, basically. You want to have craps, you want to have poker, you want to have all this. It's like you don't have enough staff to maintain that. What are you going to do? Pick one. I'm for actual, like, a poker club here. You know why? Because if I go there, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting poker. I want to go and play where there's poker. I don't want like maybe there's poker, maybe there's not. What game am I going into? What do you have there, right? I don't like calling in, like, unless I know. So
yeah, for sure. And there was a comment in the group the other day, and I don't know enough to know if it was accurate, but it was someone who had gone back to the industry and commented on their pay being very similar to when they worked in the industry like 10, 15 years ago. And there's something to be said for that too. Like if they're making the same now as they were 15 years ago, or even similar, then they're making less, right? So there's something there too. It makes it a lot. Money's not everything, right? Like people will take less money for a better job, but if there's a minimum standard at the same time, right? And if people can't pay their bills, or that's, it's a hindrance to kind of living their life, then stuff that happens at work is a bigger deal, right? And you have less incentive.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We can go so far into this and again, and we're just circling back to, like, how you solve this? Well, John, you take the market, you pay people $30 an hour. And I remember, and again, like we talked about this before about, like dealers were making double minimum wage at one point, like years and years ago was double minimum wage. So if you can have some kind of market where you take it and you can offer your staff that, then you're going to get back on your feet.
Can you imagine, like, if, say for instance, like if I had tons of money and I had a casino in Edmonton, I'd be like, what? What's the minimum tables I can have? I'll pay the dealer minimum, like I said, $30. I'll double the minimum wage to whatever, $30 an hour. But I would take away tips. I would say if there's no tips, you can't have tips. It's going to be 100% salary. You're going to have it was like that guy. I can't remember what he worked for. When he dropped his salary by like $1 million, so he could pay his staff like
Dan
he pays $70,000, and he's like, he would lose money, but you need to give people a wage that they can kind of live on, right? Not like, you should never be like, whether or not I eat this week is based on the generosity of the people that I'm dealing to, right? I to be honest, I find that bit unfair and crazy, to be honest, because that's whatever. But I mean, like, I would literally be like, okay, well, then we hire the best people we want to, and then you have a casino where the experience would be amazing because you'd have you pick of every. Can you imagine that? You had the pick of every single dealer in Edmonton or every single pit boss in Edmonton, and you'd be like, man, that casino is the best run casino. No, everybody would go there because it'd be an amazing experience, right?
Well, that
and
would be
guess what?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, John. Keep going.
No, I was just saying, like, and people wouldn't leave because guess what? They're going back to another casino on just, minimum wage and a couple of bucks in tips.
Yeah, it would be an interesting, I wish we could kind of do that experiment and see, like, because I have a lot of, philosophies about that too, and like paying staff correctly and treating them well and, giving up revenue to achieve that. And there's tons of business cases out there where it's like you take care of your people and your people take care of your customers, right? And so exactly that. And then you get the business out of it, right? And to see how much of a shift there would be in business if someone were to take that step and give that a try, it'd be really interesting to see what the outcome was.
Yes.
Yeah, we could talk about this concept for hours. I can't believe, to be honest, we've talked an hour and a half, man. It's goes so quickly.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Oh my God, guys, we're gonna continue this discussion. We're gonna have to do it next week because this is probably our number one topic. It's cool to have another point of view from somebody in Vegas. Look at who joined. Hello.
Yay.
Our favorite.
How's work, Danny?
Yeah. So let's get that update next week as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
That's who we needed on the conversation about back to work. Someone who's working full time.
Yeah. I really need to like screenshot this whole thing because there's some really good comments here, and I don't know. It's so frustrating because when we look at it, it's just like, yes, like some casinos you get minimum wage. Yeah, this one from David, this is a big one because it's like this is the Band-Aid right now. When they don't want to give soups a raise, they decide to give them a percentage of dealers' tips.
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely go way, way, way deep into this. And it's not about the tokes part of it. It's about the fact that you've been relying on this amount of pay for, a dealer, and then all of a sudden the dealers are making more than the floor supervisors. How are you supposed to resolve that? It's the same in like food and beverage where someone in high limit is making more than the supervisor. And why are you not looking at that, right? Mm-hmm. Like you need to resolve that. Otherwise, you're not going to have that strength in the positions that you want that you want them in. And that's always been that way. And do you fault the operator if the operator is making like a charitable amount of, like they're making a fraction of what they're supposed to be making because of like our model? Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that cause like this market to be this way, right? And yeah.
But to be honest, I think, the problem is in Alberta is the lion's share of the revenue goes to the Alberta government.
Okay, say that again, John.
I said that. Sorry, I cut up, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the problem is the wages and everything else is kept artificially low because the operator has, such a small percentage of the actual revenue, and the lion's share of it, in all realistic, in all reality, goes to the Alberta government, right? I mean, realistically, if the Alberta government could just like, okay, say they didn't take 70%, say they took 60% or 50%, maybe that you would improve the quality of life for every single person who worked in casinos, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't fault the operator for trying to make as much money as they possibly can, because they really aren't making as much money as a regular casino, say, outside of Alberta, right? Because of the charity model and how much the province gets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're right. But I want to add to that because you can't fault the operator. However, you should give the operator every chance to make and generate that revenue. Now, like my example is, how come we don't have the operator having their own type of setup for, I don't want to say sports betting yet because we're not there yet, but the online gaming part of it? Remember we were like weeks ago, we were like, man, we should have they should have live dealers. And then, like, you know what? You have your registered gaming workers as your live dealers, like you're too far behind. You can't do it in time. I can understand that. But now there's live dealers, and it's not Alberta dealers, and like that's the thing. It's just like I can understand what you're trying to do, but like the operator, if you want the industry to grow properly and not be like stagnant, like how it is right now, and it's struggling right now, right? It's got to be like get that operator involved and give them these opportunities for them to make their revenue as well. So I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Danny. Would the operator still do that or just keep it? I mean, oh yeah. The percentage is not the same at every casino. That's another thing. So like, anyways, yeah, I don't want to leave this on a cliffhanger. However, we're just way over our time here. We're like 5 minutes over our episode time, and it's hard to pare this down to 15 minutes when all three of us are talking amazing stuff, right? This is like genuine, the things that you can put together in like our discussions sometimes, and this is supposed to be like a nice, easy week, but I got out of you guys having a partnership with like a cruise line and a land casino would just be incredible. Like, I think that would totally like take a market, and that would be something that you can run on its own. So, yeah. And then we talked about salaries again, and it's just slots. Those hand pays should go down. They shouldn't keep going up and up and up. That's how you keep a strong group of staff there with no turnover. Like they run out the hand pays, they bust their asses out, and they make whatever tips they are. I'm not going to say what it is, but like they deserve it because they're the ones working. But that's where you get like the buy-in, right? But when you start taking that stuff away, you're taking away like how someone like lives their lives. And I think that's a really big thing that people need to understand. So, and we're talking about dealers too. I mean, like, man, like it's been the same rate of pay for so long until like the minimum wage went up, but everybody's minimum wage went up. So it's the same. It doesn't matter, right? Like now your tips aren't as high, right? Like your tips are not comparable to like what they were 20 years ago because of all of the changes that have been happening. Not just in this province too. So, okay. Anyways, just calm down here.
Deep breath.
Yeah. No, I just, you guys are really smart, right? And it's, for me, it's nice to discuss this with people that understand. Like, I can't talk about this with people in the hospital, right? Because like, well, we were.
Well, you can. They just may not care.
They're like, we're in healthcare. We've got pension. What are you complaining about, right? It's like, oh my God. I was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to talk about different markets and how we compare. But yeah, anyways, let's talk about this. We have a whole season to talk about this. So yeah, any final shout outs here? Let's go ladies first.
Oh, shout outs. Shout out to all the dealers who take all the games just because they want to be awesome dealers.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Totally agree. I love all games dealers too. June Boland.
Yeah, man. To be honest, I think all the all these casino dealers like in Alberta anyway. The pandemic is hopefully we're gonna have the reopening soon, and and we can go back to normal soon. And I really hope the casinos are super busy and you all make really good money. Yeah, man, you guys have put, had a tough time, right? And I know someone who works in a casino and they pretty much didn't, and they work in a slot, it was like in the count department or whatever, and they pretty much didn't work for like the last year or so, right? So it's a tough time, and I really think, I've met some of the best people I've ever met, right, in casinos, and like these guys deserve all the success moving forward, and I hope it's just the next 6 months is an amazing time in casinos in Alberta.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So before we sign off, I totally agree with what John just said, and I really think that with this, like us getting back to normal, I really think that these, everybody that's been working in the casinos, you guys deserve so much because you've gone through like it's been over a year of not having a job, and it sucks because I hate how this industry is portrayed, and this is part of the reason why I do a channel like this. I'm not saying I'm on like a management side, I'm not saying I'm on a dealer side, but I'm going to tell you this, like I wanted to be a games manager because I wanted to make a difference in how things were, but even as a games manager, I wasn't at a high enough level in order to have that influence that I wanted, right? And it's unfortunate, but my boss has a boss and that boss has a boss, and that's unfortunately how the model is right now. But I mean, like, there's a lot of things that are evident, and it's been a lot of things that have kind of happened over a long period of time. And what really frustrates me is the fact that I know how the market was before, and we look at it now, and the fact that everything is kind of led up to this, it's the most frustrating thing. And is there ways to actually solve it? Yes, there is, and it takes steps. But I think people just need to get a little more engaged and a little more on board. So, all I really want to say right now, I mean, we're just baby steps into this return. I think that whatever happens. I'm hoping like the best. I'm hoping the market just kicks back. I'm hoping casinos are super busy, and I'm hoping that you guys get like double tips. I'm hoping that, like when we started, tips were like what, $3, $4, $5 an hour. I'm hoping that they double and double and double and double. And I'm hoping that it just continues on and it's not going to be stagnant. Like that's all I'm hoping for everybody. Like my heart is like, it's with this industry. I've grown up with it just like everybody else. And we've done double digits in years, right? Like the three of us combined, the experience is like somebody's lifetime. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like with everything that we've kind of gone through, everybody that's still in the industry, like seriously deserves like, double what we've kind of gotten over our careers. Like mm-hmm. They deserve to go on the ships and see the world, mm-hmm. They deserve the respect. And I hate how our industry is being viewed right now. It doesn't deserve that. We're not like a strip club. We don't sell crystal meth. And I'm not saying strip clubs are bad either. I'm just saying like, like don't put us in that group, right? Like, it's like, anyways, that's all. Shout out to Jay, Michelle, and John from David. Shout out to John's beard. Cool.
Nice.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. It always is, guys.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry with you guys.
I love chatting with you guys too. I mean, and usually I'm like the cool, like laid back one, but I mean, this gets me riled up because it's people that I worked with, and it's like my old family, and it just makes me mad. Anyways,
do you know what? The hope, to be honest, I think like what we do, right? We've been doing for the last 15 months, whatever it turns out to be. This would be really cool to actually do it in a casino. Like 3 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us, whatever it is we ever have, and sit down and do this live in the casino. I think that would be cool.
We'll just trash management the whole time.
No.
I'm just going to say there'd be a strong possibility I may get drunk, and it'd be like, it'd be like John gets dragged out to the casino. It's like, I've been kicked out of better places than this before. As I mean, but no, I think that would be kind of fun, right? If we could ever do this in like live in the casino.
Okay. So before we sign off, yes, I promise you that's going to happen because I mean, like, I'm not, everything that we say is not a knock at the facility. It's just what happened over all the years, and it's evolved into this point. It's unfortunate. But I mean, like, it's not that the operators aren't trying. It's not like the dealers that are returning to work aren't trying. I mean, it's there. It's just not, it can be better, right? And that's the thing. Like, we all know it can be better. And even the people working there know it can be better. So how do we get there? So
yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. This is it. I'm definitely like, I just
signing
thank
off.
you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Anybody else have anything to say? Or are you good?
No, we're good. I'm good.
John probably has like a million things to say.
No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to lie here with my gray beard.
Okay. we are definitely going to do a live show because a wonderful casino has actually said that we could use a specific area, not a gaming area. Obviously, we're not like that. We just need a place to sit, and we want to thank those people when that opportunity comes. So that's it.
Okay.
We're gonna do this live at some point. So
That would
Yeah.
be really fun.
That's great.
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be really cool.
All right, guys. Everybody online, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for the comments once again. You guys are amazing. Everybody that's listening in on the podcast on Spotify and iTunes, thank you so much for downloading our episodes. We totally appreciate the support, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. So have a great evening, whatever day of the week it is.
Subscribe.
All right, guys.
See you
Take
guys.
care.
Good night.
Good night.